Welcome to the Zoom.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on our session today, How Top Fundraising Events Raise More Without Increasing Attendance. We're going to go ahead and get started here shortly, but if you are just joining us, please drop a hello in the chat at the bottom of your screen. We'd love to see who we have on, hear your organization, and where you're joining us from.
Nice, Bermuda. All right. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, all over the country and the world.
I know y'all are global. That's awesome.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a great session planned for you all today. Just so everyone no need to worry about taking notes. We are going to send you a recording of the webinar today, as well as PowerPoint slides. So you'll get all of this information to take back with you, review it with your team, all that. So let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to How Top Fundraising Events Raise More Without Increasing Attendance. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panel. We have Lauren Batterby, who is the president of Ariva's Event Staffing Division. Hi, Lauren. Thanks for being here today.
Hi there, thank you.
And we have Trevor Nelson, who is the Chief Gratitude Officer at HGA Fundraising. Hi, Trevor.
Hey, Gabby. Thanks so much.
And I'm Gabriella Salemi. I'm our Director of Marketing at Ariva, and I will be the moderator for today. So to go ahead and get started, we'd love to hear a little bit from the audience. We'd love to know how many fundraising events do you run a year? So you have options to choose from 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 or more. We have a little bit of time for those answers to come on in. All right, so looking at the results here, the majority of you, 28%, are doing 5 or more events in a year. 22% are doing 4 or 2 events or 1, and then a few of you are doing 3 events.
Awesome.
Interesting to
Busy. Some
see.
busy folks.
Yeah.
Right.
Next question we'd love to know, do you hire outside services to help with your event, such as consignment auction items, event staffing, or other vendors? We also have an option for you used to, but not anymore. So maybe you've used vendors in the past, but chose not to use any again. All right, so looking at the results, 61% of you are not using any outside vendors, and 35% of you are, and a few of you have used them in the past, but are not anymore. Next thing we'd like to know, do you host an auction or gala? So you have a few options here. You can choose, we host a silent auction only, we host a live auction only, we host both a live and silent auction. We have an annual gala, but it doesn't include a live or silent auction, and we do not host an auction or gala.
These are good poll questions.
I know, good information, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I see in the chat we used to do all of those. Okay. Be interesting to know if
Cool.
you used to do one, why did you stop?
Good question.
All right, so looking at the results here, 55% of you, so about half, do both a live auction and silent auction. Some of you, or 18%, do not host a live or silent auction at all or a gala. And then a few of you doing only a silent auction, a few of you only doing a live, and then doesn't include a live or silent auction, 12%. Last question we're going to ask before I turn it over to our panel. Do you have to manually move your event data into your donor relationship management database, and is this time consuming? So after an event, are you having to manually take event attendee data, maybe bidding information, ticket sales, anything like that, and moving it into one central location? We see sometimes people are moving these into spreadsheets, but sometimes there is a CRM that organizations have to move all that data into, and we know how time consuming that can be. So we'd love to know how many of you are experiencing that as well. All right. So about 63% of you are having to move data and it is time consuming, 29% are not, and 9% are not sure. All right, before I turn it over to the panel, we asked you some questions, but if you do have any questions, you can go ahead and put those in the chat. We are going to have a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, about our last 15 minutes, where we will answer every question that comes in. If you want to submit a question, there is a button on the bottom of your screen that says Q&A. Make sure you put it in there so we see your question, but you can also use the chat and we'll be monitoring that as well. All right, so I will pass it over to Trevor and Lauren.
Thanks, Gabby.
Awesome.
So we want to highlight today, so obviously what top fundraising events do differently. So let's power through. Myself and Trevor are coming from slightly different angles, but we've worked together multiple times to ensure smooth events run in whatever capacity that event is looking like. So can we move to the first slide, please? All right, so I think what I'd like to highlight first here is the term well organized. Okay, it is so crucial, however, also quite laughable across some events because it is so difficult to achieve this and you never know what is going to happen on the night either. You know, it could be all kinds of factors can come into play here. So you can have backup plan after backup plan after backup plan and you still don't know. So really what I feel like is crucial here is just having the right people in the right place. And that could be down to your internal team, it could be down to your volunteers, and also down to the vendors that you use. So we're talking about the software platform that you've used, the staff that may be assisting that, the type of items that you have, the auctioneer on site, and the list goes on. So again, really highlighting this well organized. How prepared can we be for our event? Now, what I like about this slide, what it's highlighting the most here is this behavioral impact that it can have on your donors for the night. And for me personally, I think there are 4 very clear points in the evening which can impact your guests directly. So that revolves around your check-in, your check-out, your guest experience as part of the fundraising. So whether they are having any difficulty bidding, and then also during the paddle raise, very key fundraising component of an evening. So making sure not a bid is missed on the night. And this is where it comes down to having those correct vendors in place and making sure if that preparation is in place, then the donor experience will run smoothly throughout the evening. So again, homing back in on the word behavioral, their experience reflects what they are going to donate throughout the evening, therefore generating more revenue just through having the right people in the right place. Next slide, please. So we are going to highlight here that positive check-in experience, and I think there are 5 key points to highlight here. So it's always very important to have more volunteers or staff than you think you're going to need on the night. More assistance is better. At the end of the day, that is the very start point of the evening. Do not upset them at the door. All we need to do is make sure we've got those bottoms in those seats in as pleasant way as possible so they can begin their evening. But it really does begin at the door. Maybe it even began in the car park. Right? So making sure you've also got troubleshooters there as well. The first person that they are seeing as they walk in should not be that person sat behind the laptop. It should be that smiling face and heart of the organization, making them feel welcome. Also have designated volunteers ushering the guests throughout check-in. So not standing there, you know, the weather, it could either be extremely hot or absolutely pouring down with rain. We need to make sure they're in the door and know where they're going and not just left standing. Again, it's that attention to detail from the moment they arrive that they are going to take away with them on the night. The training of volunteers. So it's all very well having someone be there to smile at them, but they needed to have the knowledge in order to be able to direct the guests in where they are going. So making sure those people that you have put forward facing know how to answer the questions that they're going to be asked on arrival. And that might even be down to, where is the cloakroom? Where am I going for my check-in? Me, all different plethora of questions, just making sure they've got a really nice overall view and are able to be actually helpful at that stage. So making sure that volunteers are trained and again are given that knowledge in advance, so they don't feel like they've been put on the spot as well. In the day, our volunteers are golden to us. They're there out of the kindness of their hearts and giving their time for free. The least we can do is set them up for success so they can have an enjoyable evening as well in helping the guests as they arrive. Oh gosh, I already mentioned this one. Sorry, the first person they encounter should not be the person behind the laptop. It acts as a barrier again, and that person may be concentrating on what they're doing or finishing off a task and may not be that perfect person at the forefront of the event to make sure they're welcomed with a smiling face. They should be the second smiling face that they see. Another thing to highlight here, we're already mentioning the technology as well, making sure you delegate the volunteers to the correct spaces that is appropriate for their skill set. Please, please do not put a volunteer who is not tech savvy with an iPad or laptop, or if you're swiping credit cards, at your check-in. Making sure you've got the right people in the right places. I think that leads quite nicely into the next slide. And exactly, delegating the correct jobs to the right people. And this may be whether it be your internal team, whether it be your volunteers, or whether it be a hired vendor who's able to assist with staffing on the evening. And that could be ushering people, the use of the technology, catering staff in the room on the night. Again, you're not going to put someone from catering behind a laptop at check-in. So don't put somebody that's not comfortable, behind a laptop on the night, or put them in the room serving food, right? Maybe find out more about your volunteers, find out how they want to help. What's their day job? What do they do? What are they going to be successful at that they will enjoy and also help you on the night? So assigning the correct jobs to the correct people on the night can lead again to that boosting the revenue and of making it a very smooth experience for your guests. So we've already mentioned training them ahead of time, making sure they have all the knowledge that they need prior to the event, and then also reiterating that to them on the night. Maybe you have someone that's purely in charge of your volunteers on the night. They are delegated that job. You, as the CEO, should be the calmest person in the room. And I feel like we say this all the time as a part of our team. We are there to assist. The CEO might not necessarily be the first person at the door, but it's definitely someone that people are going to want to speak to, congratulate on the night, especially some of those high net worth donors that come in to the space. To see a frazzled CEO is, again, going to only make them feel frazzled. You have to be that swan above water, just paddling hard underneath. And this is where you need to think about as well, I'm trying to get an extra point here, the value of you. The value of you as the CEO or the event planner or whatever the title is. But if you have set up that event from start to finish, I, for one, have huge admiration for you. If you've really had to do everything, and that might not necessarily be your day job at your nonprofit or your foundation. This is a one night of the year annual event that some people, it's just, we got to pull together and knock this out, right? So again, all the admiration for this person. So think about the value of you. How can you assist with the overall event if you're locked into a corner doing a check-in, or whether you're looking already at funds raised for the evening, or dealing with a guest that's not necessarily on the guest list, but it could be an easy solve. You really do want to be all over the place all the time, but not necessarily handling the problem itself, just making sure that it is handled. Okay, so make a list even. What is the value of you on the night? How do you get the return on investment for you and the role you play on the night? And then anything you can cross off that list, ask somebody else to help. Put somebody in the right place to be able to do that. So delegate, delegate, delegate on the night. Just whatever you do, make sure they're well prepared when you put them in that spotlight for the night. And so making sure all areas are covered, whether it be by professional staff or whether it be by our volunteers. Another example I like to use is, you're not just going to throw one of those volunteers up on stage to run your live auction, are you? Right? Because you need a trained professional in order to be able to do that. Because again, how much do you think you would raise compared to that professional auctioneer being on site? So really try your best. I'm overdoing this because I feel like these are the areas that might get missed or we take for granted on the night. So really using the resources that you have to delegate to your tribe on the night of people that are there to help you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Absolutely.
on the next one, please. All right, so the use of event staff, these volunteers. Like, our event staff can really aid the volunteers on the night and lead to quite an enjoyable experience for the staff and the donors themselves. So if I was giving my time, again, for free, this is the heart of your organization, they probably want to promote your organization at the same time. Like, guest greeting and welcoming is ideal for these volunteers. They can tell your story. They can be walking around the room and engaging with your guests in a similar way that you can at the same time, but you can't cover anything from 200 to 800 people. So to know that you've got the heart of your organization there at the same time with a good understanding of what the organization does is ideal place to be using your volunteers. Sorry, volunteers make events personal. Exactly. That's where I'm going with this. So make sure that there is that personal touch. And if anyone does have any questions in general about the organization or how they would like to donate, how can they donate in future, make sure your volunteers are equipped with this type of information. In regards to how to use the software or anything in regards to the items, that's where your professional vendors are going to come in and be able to assist. It's nice that they'll have a overview knowledge of the items that are in your silent auction and how to bid. But what the volunteers can do is say, absolutely, we can help you with that. Please let me go find someone that knows more about this area. And again, can then delegate that to a more professional member of the team who knows technology and works with this type of technology or auctions or the different types of items all the time. So as long as, again, they're fully equipped, knowing who is able to assist the donor, they can definitely be that go-between as well for the guests, all again encompassing into making this friendly, personal experience between the organization and the donors on the night. Again, leading to this behavioral, again, this experience that the guests are going to have to feel welcome, to feel warm, and to enjoy themselves throughout the evening, leaving no question unanswered and completely catered for all night. Okay, next one, please. All right, so event staffing, always categorized as an additional cost, whereas really it should be known as a revenue enhancer, which is exactly what we call our, well, Trevor, will you agree with me? Revenue enhancers is what we refer to our items as. But I see no reason why staff can't be the same at the same time. It goes hand in hand. you
Absolutely.
know. So making sure that they're fully equipped with what they need to do, i.e. when it comes to your paddle raise or your live auction, we don't want any bid being missed within that room. That is money left on the table as far as we're concerned. And again, using a volunteer, they haven't done this before, possibly, or maybe they did it last year. Our staff do this multiple times a week. We know how crucial it is to make sure no money is left upon the table and to make sure no bid is missed and everything is entered into the technology. This circles back to your check-in. If information is entered incorrectly in the first place, that leads to discrepancies at the end of the night, therefore leaving a guest possibly disgruntled because we're dealing with money by this point as well. They are donating out of the kindness of their heart, and we want to make sure that goes as smoothly as possible. So putting the right people in the place to deal with those transactions as well, which is a slightly more serious role. It's a very serious part of the evening when you're handling large amounts of money. Again, nothing left on the table, as well as making sure that donor feels confident in where their funds are going. Now, a couple of tips here we've put together when considering what type of staffing vendor you should be using, and here are a couple of questions that we feel would be useful. So, does that vendor specialize in fundraising events? Or are they a staffing team that is more promotional? There are lots of different staffing agencies out there. I'd really suggest that you find one that's particularly niche to the type of event that you are holding. Are they comfortable with fundraising technology? A lot of the technologies out there refer different partners. Maybe speak with your software partner first to see who they recommend, who is certified in their particular technology as well. Because although they can be very similar, there are definitely different features across each of these platforms. And you don't want someone that doesn't really know how to handle a situation when things have to be handled very promptly on the night, especially when that guest is standing in front of you. That person needs to know what they are doing within that technology. How do they integrate with volunteer teams? These are the type of setup questions you can have when you choose your team. Our team integrate perfectly well with volunteers. We'll happily train our volunteers on the night. Sometimes we use a buddy system as well. Whereas if we are using volunteers on a check-in, they will never be on their own. They will always have a right-hand man or woman, so to speak, at the side of them to ask any questions quickly and efficiently when a guest is there in front of them. How do they manage unpredictability? Open-ended question. Exactly. Stay calm. Again, making sure we are well organized in advance. We see these similar types of problems all the time. You need that knowledge and experience of how these particular situations are handled. So maybe you could give them a scenario. What happened in the past? You know, not every event runs 100% perfectly. So talk about the difficulties you experienced, ask them how they would have handled that and how that would have possibly improved the experience for you as the organization on the night. How do they contribute to the revenue protection? Of course, by sending qualified staff that understand fundraising events. Again, we want to make sure that no bid is missed. As you can see here, if you want to use the QR code, there is a full downloadable list of questions to use when evaluating your professional staff. But I personally would highly advise it to be integrated with your team is the best professional staff that you could find. So again, enabling everybody to work together. Thank you.
Right on.
I think I'm handing over to you now, Trevor, aren't I?
No, I love it. I love it. I was just like, I was downloading what you were saying too. And it's like, um, one thing I really, really resonate with is, if you're a development staff or event fundraiser or CEO, or you don't have to do it alone, right? That's like one big, big thing. And then
Mhm.
I don't think people shine enough of a light, or professionals shine enough on a light on the CEO, ED, board members. They should be engaging, like you said, with, top donors, new attendees, and not, fiddling with check in and check out if at all possible. I thought that was really, really good. I don't think people talk about that enough, actually. So Well, cool. Yeah. Well, thanks. Appreciate it. What top fundraising events do differently? Auction packages that increase bidding activity. Very cool. Okay, cool. Sandy from our team put this together, so really, really fun. Yeah, we can talk about the live auction. It looks like. It looks like from the poll, like a lot of folks have a live auction. Fantastic. Definitely think that you should consider it. Every event has its own atmosphere and uniqueness, so it's not right for every event, but we're definitely noticing it can be a really, really nice value add, and that's where we come into play is just being a value add to your auction lineup, silent auction, live auction. We'll get into the golden ticket and the paddle drop as well. But yeah, like one of our best selling items. We are a consignment company. Just for the record, everyone should, if they don't know what that is, we'll answer that question at the end. But we're a provider. HA Fundraising is a provider of travel items like Tuscany, a tripper experience we call them, that you can use and feature in your live auction. Promotes a lot of bidding and excitement, and when you see paddles in the air for items like this, usually it's easier to get paddles in the air again for other items or later on with this type of tripper experience, or in the paddle raise or fund a need portion as well. Perceived value for these items, absolutely, they're high. And when we create these value add scenarios in auction lineups with different organizations, we want to make sure that we're hitting critical mass, as I like to say. So not destinations that no one's ever heard of before, but and not run of the mill either. However, items that are destinations that folks want to go, or have a dream to go someday, or have heard about through friends or what have you. So higher perceived value creates more bidders, more engagement, higher bids, and these experiences, yeah, they absolutely do the selling for you. I like to say guests, donors are figuratively, packing their bags before the event even happens if they're advertised correctly. So speaking to that, items like our Tuscany experience, or a nice tripper experience, a nice destination, can add a lot of excitement to an event if they're advertised correctly. With our items, folks are leveraging their giving budget with their travel budget simultaneously. So, yeah, they do a lot of the selling for you and get the excitement up pre-event. I think it's, once again, another underutilized promotional piece. So I'm not used to saying, Gabby, next slide. I don't know the last time I ever said that, but so there's a clever way to say it. But top fundraising events do differently. Absolutely. We are huge believers. I'll start with the golden ticket. We love the golden ticket. We think it's probably the easiest way to raise money at an event. It's a proven strategy year in and year out, and something that we've adopted many, many years ago. And pre-event buzz builder, absolutely, that drives early revenue. And what that means is, with a golden ticket, let's just say, for instance, just to keep the numbers simple, you're selling 100 tickets for $100 and the hopes are you're raising $10,000. Well, if you're using auction software and promoting your event, pre-event, hopefully opening up the opportunity for folks to buy these tickets, these golden ticket opportunities. Ours are tied to a destination because that's the world that we live in. A tripper experience typically we offer an option of different destinations. That seems to work really, really well. In selling tickets pre-event, I've seen it work a couple of different ways. There's no right or wrong answer, frankly. And what I mean by that is, I used like the 100 tickets for $100 a piece, raise 10,000. Great. If you have a lot of experience with this, or different raffle scenarios, and maybe it's your 25th anniversary, so you're selling tickets for $125 and you're offering 125 of them and bringing in, more revenue as a result. So you can get really, really creative with the golden ticket strategy. Also, we love our golden ticket product. It's very, very turnkey. As mentioned, it provides different destination options to the winner. But we also really, really like, we're pro donation as well. So we love, a jewelry piece that's donated being used as a golden ticket prize, for instance, or, some kind of concert tickets. A story I tell over and over and over again, where I got schooled actually about the golden ticket, was we had a guest on one of our webinars ask, hey, I've got a couple of George Strait tickets. And I'm wondering if I should use these in the live auction or as a golden ticket. And I jumped up and I said, live auction. And my business partner, who happens to be the brightest mind in fundraising, the most prolific fundraiser I've ever met, so happens to be my business partner. So it's really, really nice for me. He said, well, hold on. What's the most you've ever raised in your live auction? And she said, $4,500. And he said, okay, no, I actually think that you should use those donated George Strait tickets as a golden ticket. And here's why. And you could raise the potential to raise more money was a lot higher if she sold, for instance, 100 tickets for $100. She could raise 10,000 because she didn't have the bidders, quote unquote, in the room that would spend $10,000 on a live auction item, or at least it had been proven that that was the case. So golden ticket, amazing, and as mentioned, does create a lot of buzz. Very shareable. People can buy tickets that aren't even in attendance. And then we also, just tying a bow on it, sorry for being so long-winded, but I'm very passionate about the golden ticket. We also recommend announcing the winner of the golden ticket before your live auction night of. If you're not having a live auction before your fund of need, is totally fine as well. The silent auction, we're on a mission to make the silent auction cool again. We've even branded it at times and called it a vacation station. We're noticing a lot of higher end experiences selling in the silent auction. We understand that silent auctions can be very, very tedious to procure items and to fulfill these items and what have you. And frankly, another big layer is that people just don't want junk. Donors don't want junk anymore. We started the conversation. Lauren was talking about experience. Well, I believe part of the experience that folks come to enjoy is not seeing the same thing that they see at every other event. So not like heavy gift card or teeth cleaning or Nespresso machine heavy silent auctions. No offense if you're doing that in yours. But that being said, being a little more thoughtful about creating a higher end silent auction, like a super silent, or as we call it, a vacation station, and utilizing, for instance, consignment items like ours, where, maybe it's a destination like, I'll use Iceland as a great example. Iceland, let's just say it has a reserve price of $4,000 and you open the bidding at, say, $5,000. So the minute you get a bid, you're in the money. You can create, a situation where you're getting multiple bids. We suggest, setting the bidding increments at $100 and being very, very thoughtful about that as well. What's really, really cool about that scenario, though, is you are going to create a situation where if there are folks that have capacity in your room, you're going to know by having those kinds of experiences. You already have probably proven that you could sell the Nespresso machine or the teeth cleaning for a couple $100, but there's a lot more opportunity and there's a lot more money in the system than we care to realize sometimes, and we don't take advantage of that with the silent auction. So that being said, higher end items in your silent auction is absolutely a great thing to test. When you're using consignment items, for instance, there's no upfront cost, there's no exposure. If you get no bids, you're out nothing. I also like the idea of this scenario that plays out very, very often that I think we underappreciate, is that when you have higher end items in your silent auction, you're going to catch the ire of folks that maybe have never been in your room before. And Lauren and I were talking to Gabby, in the last couple of weeks about the fact that, there's about 40 to 50% of new attendees, new potential donors in every room, it seems like right now. Well, having really, really cool experiences or the donated tickets or what have you in your silent auction can create the attention for new donors that maybe weren't going to give you $5,000 in your fund and need portion because they just don't know your organization very well yet. Let's just say, for instance, someone's willing to buy an item in your silent auction for $5,000. You just identify, and they're new, you just identified a new mid-level donor at the $5,000 level that you've never met before. Well, how hard does your development team or you and your staff work to find these people? I'll take it a step further. What if someone bids $5,000 on a silent auction and they don't even win? You just identified once again another a potential mid-level donor that was willing to give your organization $5,000, has never been to your event before. Doubling back to what Lauren said about freeing up the ED and CEO and board members to thank those people and engage those people night of if they're making bids like that. So we're the silent auction the way we look at it is kind of like the silent auction on steroids, the super silent auction. So I think it's a really, really underutilized practice to put higher end items in your silent. Lastly, I tend to get long-winded about auction items, apologies. But lastly, a great proving ground for future live auction items. So I'll go back to that Iceland trip. Maybe it's a stretch to add an Iceland experience to your live auction right now. Well, because there's no exposure, for instance, with the silent auction, you could test it in the silent auction this year. And if you get, let's just say there's 8, 10, 12 bids, for instance, for that Iceland destination, then you obviously can tell their bidding behavior was up, the attention was there, the desire was there. So you could see possibly adding the Iceland experience to your live auction in the future. So pretty cool. Adding to the live auction or segueing into the live auction piece. Yeah, in our world, selling multiples in the consignment world, once again, for folks that are familiar or aren't familiar, the consignment items that we add, once again, are value adds to live auctions, are designed to sell multiple times to multiple bidders. What's really cool about that, and hey, we also promote the idea of if you've got great donated items like the chef's dinner or what have you, make sure you talk to that chef or the restaurant to see if you can sell a couple of them night of if the bidding frenzy is there, quote unquote. So it's always a good idea to be able to sell live auction items multiple times and create that critical mass. There's a famous phrase by a friend of ours, Dan Lyles, an auctioneer in the space, says, "Who else wants one?" So, like, I'll give you an example, like an item, for instance, like an all-inclusive trip to Mexico, for instance, with the $2,000 reserve price. Let's just say the bidding gets up, somewhere between, $4,000 to $5,000. A professional auctioneer will back the bidding down and offer it to who else wants one, or at a fixed price, for instance, or a price that they have created in the room where there's a bidding frenzy and multiple paddles in the air. And I did mention as well, when there's multiple paddles in the air or someone raises their paddle for a live auction item, they're more apt to raise their paddle again. Just psychology, bidding psychology dictates they're more apt to raise their paddle again for another live auction item, and also in the fund and need portion, the paddle raise portion as well. Any other questions about the live auction? I'm happy to get to those before we wrap. I'm sure there's plenty of questions about the silent auction, live auction, golden ticket, and then the paddle drop. Really, really cool to use a tripper experience or some kind of incentive to get everyone to drop their paddles at the very, very end of the fund and need paddle raise portion of the event. And this is a practice, a strategy it's been made very, very famous by another auctioneer friend of ours, Chris Hensley. So we have to share it. And a really cool bookend, actually, when you consider the golden ticket being a prize or a tripper experience to get folks to stoke the fire pre-event and at the very beginning, and then the paddle drop at the very end. Quick illustration would be, the last giving increment or price point. Let's say it's $100 to fund the mission. Everyone would stick there that's interested in giving $100 one more time would be entering essentially the opportunity to win a tripper experience or some kind of prize at the end. So everyone puts their paddle in. When they put their paddle in, they're committing, for instance, in this illustration, $100, and someone leaves with a tripper experience or some kind of prize, as mentioned. So paddle drop, really, really cool incentive and a really, really cool way to get the last dollars in the door night of. So I think that's a wrap there, Gabby. What top fundraising events do today? Yeah. Okay, cool. Absolutely. Oh, see it 6 times before they bid. Absolutely. So famous from a friend of ours. I keep on citing friends because I'm stealing their information, but a friend of ours, Claire Murad, every live auction item needs to be promoted 6 times. Donors, attendees need to see it 6 times before they even bid. So pre-event, social posts, emails, on the auction site, when they walk in, on the back of a paddle, if you're into that kind of thing. And then, of course, how they're promoted during the live auction portion. So, yeah, as mentioned, get a catalog in front of folks early and often. A prepared bidder is a higher bidder. And it's really, really important. We like to say there's no surprises. If you have like a really, really cool surprise that's mission driven, fine. I think that's cool. It really depends on your event. Every event is so different, but we don't necessarily like surprises, especially when it comes to auction items. So promote the heck out of your auction items pre-event. It's a great way, actually, to get folks to, even if you open your silent auction pre-event, to get them to start bidding and entering their credit card information, for instance, as well. So you can kind of take a little bit of the lift off of check-in. Um, Committee being your megaphone. Board members and volunteers sharing auction items on their personal networks, absolutely massive. So if you give your board members and committees the copy, the information that they need, and tell them exactly what you would like for them to do with it, another great way to shine a light on future bidding at your event. Bid history and donor behavior tells you exactly who's going to give, who's new, and who needs more cultivation. Absolutely. Get lost in the data. Lauren mentioned, or I think one of the poll questions I thought was really, really thoughtful and eye-opening that Gabby mentioned at the onset, which is, are you manually entering your data or what have you? Your data is from the event is telling you everything. That's your quote unquote your donor pipeline. You sell the golden ticket, you sell 100 tickets for $100. Say half of those people have never been to your event before. You just identified 50 new donors that you can absolutely reach out to, thank, of course, and cultivate. And as I mentioned, with a couple different illustrations with the silent auction, bid history, donor behavior, tells you exactly what folks are willing to do. A live auction scenario is if someone put their paddle in the air, whether it was for like an item like ours or not, it doesn't matter. If someone put their paddle in the air at $4,000, for instance, and you've never met them before, they're sitting at a table with an ambassador or a table host that you do know, and you've never met them, but they were willing to give your organization $4,000 for an auction item. You got to make sure you engage with them. Hopefully, night of. If you have the data, you can hopefully do it. If not night of, immediately after. And we always say, if you don't know what to say thank you, and that will segue nicely into gratitude being a strategy. A thank you after the event isn't just good manners. It's the first move in next year's fundraising cycle. Absolutely. So we're always thinking about not just this event, and I'm not trying to get you off the myopic focus on making sure this event that you're working on right now is a success, but you're laying the groundwork for future event success as well. We mention that gratitude is a strategy. Thank your attendees, your donors, 7 times before you ask them for money again. So have this in place. If you have software, you can obviously automate a lot of this. I'm a big fan of, old school thank you notes from your board, having all these things prepped and in place as a strategy before your event even takes off, and understanding how you're going to thank folks before your event even happens. If you have that in place, then you're not going to leave it to chance. It's such a massive, massive piece. Lauren talked about, I call it hospitality, like it's your first experience at an event when you walk in. This is a bookend piece for the hospitality that needs to be in place post-event as well. So making sure you have a strategy in place is massively important. Next slide, please. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. Lauren, is this one for you? With regard to volunteers at list, yeah.
Are we switching back?
Maybe. What do you think, Gabby?
You do.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I can speak to this, yeah, if you like. But yeah,
It is under my name. I'm sorry. Yes.
Oh, don't be sorry at all. Yeah. No, it's all good. I could limp my way into this one.
Sure, you've done enough checkouts in your time as well. But yeah, making checkout simple for guests. Sorry, maybe I covered this earlier, and how crucially important that it is. So we do also provide reports to the pickup area for volunteers that lists the guests. So yes, I suppose this process is something that we didn't touch on. Our best practice when it comes to running a successful checkout is, again, making sure you've got those correct people at the front line, making sure that transactions are being taken efficiently, and making sure that the guest feels, again, that their money is being handled delicately and professionally. And then the pickup of the items. People always seem to forget this part and then end up with so many lying around at the end of the night and then have them in their offices for weeks to come trying to get people to come and collect. So the process we have in place is, again, making sure the correct team members are taking payment, and then we either provide a list, yes, or make sure we have maybe like post-its or pieces of paper where we can write person's name down and the item number that they won, and then we hand that to a volunteer or a runner from the organization. And then usually we would say have these items lined up in numerical order, so then you could follow that. But there are different processes around that. I also understand, depending on how you've laid out your items, and making sure your volunteers know, is it an envelope with an experience or gift voucher in, or is it an actual physical item that they need to be picking up and taking away? But it's like a little production line. You make your payment, we then advise who they go to next, so they're not waiting in line, again, keeping things running smoothly, and then handing over their allotted, their winning items, even if it's multiple, and then that volunteer can hand those over to them. And then even down to the next level is if they have several different large items, how are they carrying them out to their car? How are we being able to assist with this? So again, just take some pre-planning, knowing the types of items and how you are then assisting the donor to take them with them that evening. Then also, if they are deciding to leave them there, where are those items being put so they're out of the way and safe at the same time? So there really is quite a procedure. We can keep it as simple as possible, but it does need to be planned ahead to make sure we have that extremely smooth checkout for guests as well. Thank you. We're good. Threw a sneaky slide in for me there.
Hey, can I heard a really, really good idea, just like 60 seconds or less on that. A really, really good idea about having items picked up at a sponsor's location and get so you can give the sponsor more exposure. So
Oh,
you'll be
yeah.
picking up, yeah. So it's like, hey, they sponsored the silent auction or the vacation station or what have you. And I also like, like I was sorry for degrading the Nespresso machine, but I was using this like I got on like a soapbox about the Nespresso machine because it's like these consumer goods are cool, right? That doesn't mean they need to be in your silent auction. I thought a better use of an espresso machine would be put it in your office and invite someone that buys a higher end item at your event to your office and make them the coffee when they come pick up the item. You know what I mean? Like, so, and it's a cool reason to get folks to the location, for instance, see the work that you do, especially new folks, getting them exposed, maybe setting up an appointment. But I love, back to my original point, I love the idea that I heard about setting this up at like at a sponsor's location. So you could item pickup could be there. Could be kind of cool.
I like that.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought it was cool too.
Yeah.
Right. Before we get to the Q&A, I'm just going to share a little bit about who Arriva is and get Trevor and Lauren some time to talk about their businesses as well. But Arriva has been in the nonprofit industry for over 35 years. We have over 6,000 satisfied clients, and we've done over 30,000 live virtual and hybrid galas. We're vetted by Ronald McDonald Houses, Boys and Girls Clubs, Gilda's Clubs, Variety, Meals on Wheels, Jewish Federations, St. Vincent de Paul's, and many more. One of the challenges that we solve, I saw a lot of you said, over 65% said you're struggling with moving that event data after events. That's really the challenge that we saw organizations facing, and that's what we looked to solve. So we saw that there was struggles with donor communications, just inconsistent experiences, and not any integrations between software. We are one of the only vendors in the entire industry who has an integrated auction software within a donor CRM system. So all of these applications you see here, we offer in one platform, and the platform is called Exceed Further. We are awarded across the industry as a top performer for both customer success and our software. And this platform is really built to grow with you. So all of these individual modules, you can pick and choose what you need. And then, of course, we have our auction software, which integrates directly. So all of that event data, you do not have to put it in a spreadsheet, house it somewhere else, and upload it again. You can have event data from all different years put in there, so you can really see a complete picture of your donors. And like Trevor and Lauren were sharing, maybe someone who bid in the silent auction or in the live auction, but didn't win the actual item, but you can keep track of all that information. When it goes into the database, it does a duplicate utility check. So you make sure you're not creating multiple records. You could pull lists of who attended an event one year to invite them to the next year, and get really creative with your data. And it is a completely cloud-based platform. You can have automatic thank yous go out after an event. We talked about gratitude, but I'll go ahead and put up so much more the platform can do, but just on the event side, because I know that's what we're talking about. If you'd like to learn more about our fundraising, donor management, and auction software, go ahead and hit yes, and someone from our team will be in touch. All right, Lauren, do you want to talk a little bit about the event staffing division?
Yes, of course we can. I think, as usual, I always end up touching on things prior to slides because I jump ahead. So some of it may have already been covered, but we are Ariba's core event staffing team, and we do offer end-to-end support. So anything from the lead up to your event, to setting up your technology, assisting with best practices, helping you be organized and prepare for the evening in any way that we can offer assistance. We have been working within the industry for, I mean, our team, I want to say we've all got at least 10 years experience, and then our on-site team is usually 5 and over. So we are very well equipped with our experience to be able to assist with the type of events that you are running. Our core team run predominantly fundraising events and gala auctions. So like I said previously, we're running multiple events across the country per week. So ask the questions, we have the answers because we've been there and done it. We will assist on the evening with your check-in and then making sure all information data is entered into the bidding platform throughout the evening. We will assist your auctioneer with spotting. We work very closely with our auctioneers as well, again, to make sure no bid is missed throughout that room, no matter what size or shape of that room. And sometimes the auctioneer needs assistance as well, so they can see their bid numbers clearly. So that is where our team comes in, and then making sure that all guests are able to bid, know exactly what they're doing, have been given the correct direction, and then also assisting with a checkout and any post-event reporting or data questions that are needed also. So that is our package of a service, working across multiple different platforms as well. We are very tech-heavy experienced staff alongside the customer service that we're able to offer as well. Again, nationwide, so everything from east to west and Canada. So we have extremely local teams that we can offer to most of our organizations, which hopefully keeping some costs down as well. But we do run off a nightly experience where we can offer anything from an event manager right the way up to, you name it, 15, 20 staff. We've got some coming up on our larger events of the moment. So answering the question why professional event staffing matters. Again, it's the difference between running your event, a well-organized, efficient event, or just surviving it on the night. Live fundraising events are, again, extremely high stake. We understand how crucial it is to raise as much as possible on that night. So we all have the same goal. This is usually, again, an annual event. We are all there for the same reason and to reach the same success. We're there because we want to see you raise more and more from year to year. Donors expect confidence and clarity. Of course they do. And that's what our smiling staff will make sure is received on the night, and any problem solving and troubleshooting to make for a flawless event on the night. Again, let's use that picture of that swan gliding across the water, but paddling hard underneath. That is what they are equipped to do for you as well. Again, they've seen it all. Professional staffing ensures the high donor confidence, again, hopefully instilling confidence within your organization as well. We do work hand in hand on the night with fewer technology disruptions, because again, we've seen it all before, even when it comes down to technology. And we do have direct support to all of our technology platforms as well. Those are the relationships we are building within our industry to promote those stronger fundraising outcomes. Again, if everything is running efficiently, from the staff you use, the technology you use, the items that you are promoting, and then the auctioneer you use on the night, we are a well-oiled machine to make that for you.
Thanks, Lauren. I saw a few comments. Please show contact info. If you go ahead and hit yes on that poll, your information goes directly to our event staffing team here at Ariva, and they will be in contact to talk all about your next event. All right, and then I'll pass it to you, Trevor, and then we can get to the Q&A.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Let's take a look here. Yeah, well, I'm the Chief Gratitude Officer. I'm also one of the co-founders of HA Fundraising. We're a family business of 20 fundraisers and hospitality team members. We build our own trips and experiences. Consignment items are often ascribed that moniker. Consignment items that you can use, once again, golden ticket, silent auction, live auction, paddle drop, a myriad online auctions, a myriad of different utilities, I guess, for the items. I'm also the host of Hey Nonprofits, the podcast, so you can check us out on YouTube wherever you consume podcasts. And yeah, you're happy to have you reach out, and you'll speak to a team member if you'd like to learn more about what we do. A couple bullet points. I mean, once again, our items are value adds. We don't put items in events for the sake of putting items in events. We put items in events when they're a good fit strategically for your organization. We take the donor experience more seriously than anyone in the space because we build our own trips, number one. We book our own trips, and we give donors more time to book and take their trip than anyone else in the space as well. So we're very, very passionate about that. We're also very passionate, as I mentioned, I'm the host of Hey Nonprofits. We're very passionate about giving our best information away for free. So we do private coaching for free. The podcast is obviously free. We do live podcasts as well. But yeah, we're very passionate fundraisers. We're a group of, once again, a family business. We're not all related at this point anymore, but I started the company with my best friend, Jason. And and so here we are a number of years in and doing really, really good work. We're going to be in over 2,000 events this year, helping folks with the golden ticket, sound auction, live auction, paddle drop, the whole nine. So I hope that helps.
Thanks, Trevor. All right, let's
Thank
go
you.
ahead and get into our Q&A. Lots of great questions have come in.
Oh, cool.
First, do you continue to sell the golden ticket at the event?
Who is that from?
This is from Judy.
Hi, Judy. Yeah, absolutely, Judy. The golden ticket is our most popular item because it's just so easy to add to your event. And also very, very easy for donors and supporters to say yes to buying a ticket. So absolutely, you can just go to hafundraising.com. You can click on the golden ticket icon. It's right there. You can reach out to me directly or connect with me on LinkedIn, and we can fill you in with any bit of information you need about the golden ticket. But absolutely, it's our most popular product.
This question comes from Janelle. We have an event where it's similar to Deal or No Deal, but we have prize packages and cases. For example, you know what five prizes will be in each round, but not in which case. Do you think this would be more successful and get more of a bidding war if people knew what was in the cases before bidding begins?
Lauren, you want?
I was
Go
going to
ahead.
say yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say yes. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, yeah, quickly without knowing more. Yes, I would say absolutely. I don't like surprises myself. However, if your event has that atmosphere where folks just come to realize that and they invite guests and friends and say, hey, this is really, really cool, and they would absolutely be upset if you removed it, then so be it. I just need to know a little bit more, like, what are people buying these chances for? Janelle, I don't know if you're still with us. I hope you are. Thank you for the question. If folks, let us know what the folks are buying the chances for. If you don't mind, just give me a little more context. Would be
Janelle is still
super,
with
super
us.
helpful.
If you want
All
to
right,
put some more
cool. Yeah, yeah,
context in
yeah.
the chat, Janelle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to know how funds are raised that way. I think another point as well, if again, those donors that are coming in, if there's a certain, well, obviously it's deal or no deal, they're at a certain value. Are those 5 items, like, do they start really low end and then get to really
Yeah,
high
I don't
end so
know.
they
Yeah.
know there's high stakes in
I just
there?
need a little more context
Yeah,
myself.
or
It's
is
like,
it just a general amount? Because you might just want to promote the high stakes one, and the others are like booby prizes. Are they fun, or are they
yeah.
still potential high worth? How much are you selling your tickets for to be able to
Janelle,
participate?
I'm very happy because I want to be respectful of everyone's time. I'm very happy to continue this conversation offline as well. I'm just Trevor at hjfundraising.com, or we're pretty prolific on LinkedIn. You can reach out to me and connect with me there, and I'm happy to spend some time with you talking about it. I'm going to leave you with this, though. I'm not saying I'm leaving or anything, but I would absolutely ask for more. And I'm going to tell that to everybody. Absolutely ask for more. If you're asking for $25 per chance, ask for 50. If someone's willing to give you 50, they're probably willing to give you 100. So I think that's just a big, big overarching theme that we're seeing at events. Please do not be afraid to ask for more.
Great tip. This comes from Megan. My organization hasn't done an auction in a while, but I think it could be popular and a welcome change. What tips do you have for securing donated items and how to best utilize our board?
Lauren,
Yeah, it's tricky one.
I'm
You
happy to do
definitely need your board involvement.
that.
And yeah, it
Yeah.
depends what level of items you are looking at. My first instinct would be support local.
Hmm.
You don't
Okay.
need to ask for too much, and it's also them
Yeah.
promoting their business. At the end of the day, they're not getting nothing from this. You're promoting it to all your guests with their brand, their name, whether it be a local salon, local restaurant. These shouldn't be too difficult to be able to gain. You don't even need to know them necessarily, just know their brand. And then you can walk in, and the right people, again, you're able to promote their business for them. So you would like to hope that it wouldn't be too difficult to do it that way. There are vendors out there that assist with this type of thing, but obviously there's a fee to it when it comes to the more like flights and hotels and those types of donations, and we'll do all the communication for you. But I personally think it's a mix. It's nice to have a mix, like what Trevor at HGA and what they are offering. Some of those high-end items, you're not going to get this type of thing donated that also offers the same level of service. Like, that post event when it comes to the booking. You may have someone who's very wealthy who has a mansion in Martha's Vineyard, which is fantastic. But the packages that you're able to get from the likes of HGA are far more involved and equipped for these types of things. So that would just be my take on it. Try the local, and then definitely use your high-end items from a company like Trevor.
I appreciate that. Yeah, once again, they breed the same auction quite nicely. Back, and it's just from Megan, Gabby, this question.
Yes, that was from
Thank,
Megan.
right on. Thanks, Megan. Yeah, so we use something called a people exercise, and your board gets in a room, and you have the proverbial whiteboard, for instance, and you have your board break out the most powerful fundraising tool that they have, their phone, and we go down a checklist. They're basically their Rolodex. I think people still call. I don't know if people still call it that. Their contacts. Pardon me. Their contacts. And it's really addressing the point about engaging your board properly. It's telling them exactly what you hope to get, an expectation of what we need for the event and what we hope to raise. It's before you start asking for items like what do we want to raise, like what are we looking to raise here in the live auction, the silent auction, and always remember the math. I'm a big believer in using the people exercise with your board. It's like, okay, who do you know that can buy a table for $10,000 and not miss it? We like to say. And who do you know that has access, right, to items like Lauren's talking about? Like, do you know someone that has just a kick butt wine cellar locally, for instance, that you can, have their backyard be a dinner party with wine, for instance? And that's a really, really great way to engage your board, for instance. But I have them go through their Rolodex or contacts and engage them with people that they know.
This is from an anonymous person who's asking this question. Our silent auction has had anywhere from 7 items to 20 items. Do you have any guidance on whether more or less items yield a higher revenue? We want to try out a 5 value item auction, but worry that we'll see a drop in revenue.
Lauren, you want to take that or anything?
No, I'm
I
going
can
to
just go
let you
ahead.
take that. You're better
Hit me
on
with that
value.
one more time, Gabby, just so I can understand. It was value and 5 and because I'm a big believer
Yes.
in less is more. Yeah.
So their silent auction has anywhere from 7 items to 20 items.
Cool.
And they're thinking of maybe trying out a 5 high value item auction, but just
Absolutely.
worried that they'll see a drop in revenue. What are your thoughts there?
So quick, like rapid fire thought would be keep the 7 or 20 and take the 5 high-end items and make them a super silent or a vacation station. And then also brand that super silent or vacation station as a branding opportunity for a potential sponsor and have that underwritten by a sponsor. So now it's the new 5 high-end super silent / vacation station, if you're using items like ours, for instance, presented by sponsor or underwriter XYZ. Especially, for instance, if that underwriter goes to 10 different events, that sponsor goes to 10 different events a year and they don't want to buy a table, for instance. Give them the opportunity to buy the super silent table or that, this new thing that we're doing for, $3, $5, $10,000. That gets down a whole nother path about sponsorships and underwriting, but an underutilized one, especially if you're going to try out something new. Because new is cool, and you can never underestimate the power of novelty, not just for the sake of being bright and shiny. Different is also really cool too. Differentiation is stronger than competition. If you don't see that at other events, that's a really, really good leg up for your organization and your event. If folks don't see that same kind of creativity or taking a chance, for instance, with these 5 high-end items, I think that's really, really cool. And you can never underestimate the power of novelty.
Depends on your past data as well, doesn't it? I like that.
100%.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
Trev. But yeah, that keeping that past data, how much do you fear you might lose? Do you have to remove those items?
Yeah, I don't think you need to. Yeah,
Not
absolutely. No,
necessarily. That's not a huge
no.
amount. I've seen auctions that have, gosh, I think anything, what I've seen like 40 items. And the audience is literally the heads are on the table,
Oh,
but
yeah.
live, and then the heads are on the table by the end because we've just lost the will to live by this point. However, I've seen organizations do this year on year on year on year, and that is why they have their donors there and they love it. So it can be very personal as well, each to their own. At the same time, you can only take what we're saying as very generalized information of what we've seen work. But I agree with Trevor. What's the harm in changing it up? Just keep that data. Make sure you've got that. Because if you've got that really high net worth donor that's coming and you know they always bid on that particular item, don't get rid of it.
Oh, yeah, certainly not. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Don't go, and your point is lovely, Lauren. Don't go off your gut or what someone on your committee says. Go off the data, right? Or ask, or use it as an opportunity to get on the phone with that high net worth donor and ask them about their experience from previous events and if they would like to see it again, or if not, don't be afraid to ask questions. And to Gabby's point about having everything, under one roof, it's like you can create these messages and preordain them to take the thought away from it. So you can be asking your database pre-event 90 days out if they'd like to see something like this. You can also be promoting something really cool like this new advent of your 5 super silent auction items as well. So I don't see anything but upside.
To follow up to that, great question came in from Emily. What is your feeling about a board member saying, but we want to have some items that are affordable for everyone?
Well, you want to always be able to include everyone, but does it have to be in the silent auction they're included? You could have raffle tickets. There are plenty of ways that people can interact and help fundraise on the night in different areas. Yeah, it depends on like the style of the event. How high end are we going here? What is the spectrum? There are differences, and your organization. Do you need the Nespresso in there as well as like the Iceland trip? Is it that wide of a spectrum? What are you talking about here? So again, that's digging into past data, and again using different, more fun activities. They might not want to be bidding.
I hope this doesn't sound unpopular, but I don't think that's the point. I think it's a fundraiser. I don't think that making it affordable. I don't understand. Uh,
I'm not.
the word, hey, I'm sorry, it's going to sound, maybe it's a long session, but that's going to sound unpopular. You're there for a reason. The mission is more important than that board members' sentiment about affordability. The golden ticket is very affordable. Having options like that at lower price points, fantastic. A monthly recurring uh, program in place for folks to make it more affordable, where they can see their dollars month over month being used towards something great, and really, really quantifying that and qualifying that with the data and messaging and thank you and gratitude if someone gets involved in a recurring program. But we're talking about a fundraising event here. So I don't think, is that same board member going to say, hey, we haven't raised the prices in 6 years for the tickets and the tables? They're wrong. You need to be asking for
Mhm.
more. I'm sorry. Hope it doesn't sound
Right.
unpopular, but
Well, Emily's got
this,
a good follow-up there as well.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
like, these items do take a lot of work to obtain,
they
and if you're
sure
not
do.
getting your return on investment on it, I understand. I understand that there are easier activities that I
These
think you
events
could.
are hard and they're getting harder. They're exceptionally necessary, and this community piece is really seeing a renaissance, and I think it's awesome. And then you're absolutely right, Emily. Those items take a tremendous amount of work, so you need to talk to the
Mhm.
board
Yeah.
about the fact that all the people power that it takes to facilitate, the Nespresso machine and things of that nature. Yeah, but the thing of it is, we've been talking about this for a while, Lauren, and as well. It's like I can get on my phone and have it delivered to my house tomorrow. We should we
Exactly.
should we should have some novelty. We should have some novelty at the events, but then once again, not being afraid to ask for more and making sure, some of the greatest fundraisers I've ever met have said, we don't want eaters and drinkers in the seats. We want folks that are there to give. So being very, very deliberate about who's in the room. And I understand affordability is one thing, but there are so many other ways that you can make your organization more inclusive to giving
Mhm.
and show folks that, as opposed to just a fundraising event.
Yes, Emily, we're on your side.
Oh, okay, cool. Sorry, like I said, was that unpopular? I feel like I'm like it's cathartic for me, but I'm letting go of a lot of folks' pain of hearing that from board members that actually don't know how to fundraise, unfortunately, right? So
And
those are
that.
difficult conversations that I understand completely, and
Mhm.
happy to be a sounding board for you off air as well. So
A couple more questions here because I know we're a little bit over. How does the golden ticket idea meet state requirements for raffle rules? Isn't it essentially a raffle? You pay with the hope of winning a prize?
I'm supposed to say that I'm not an attorney and I cannot give you legal advice, especially if you're anonymous. No, I'm joking. But no, there are definitely some stipulations and parameters involved depending on what state you're in. So very, very easy to find that information. It could be as simple as a raffle license. I don't know. Depends on where you're at. So yeah. But once again, very, very I don't get a lot of feedback as far as not, seeing it come to fruition in a lot of states. So yeah. Hope that helps. Sorry for being vague.
Last question, related, and this comes from Joseph, related to your great paddle drop strategy, what's
Mm.
your view and experience with the $100 roundup last round, awarding the last paddle up with a prize, kind of like musical chairs? Mahalo.
Yeah, mahalo, Joseph.
Yes.
All right, mahalo, Joseph. That's awesome. Fundraising Ohana here. We are. That's awesome. Hey, Joseph, and shameless plug. Go to Hey Nonprofits YouTube channel, and then our good friend Chris Hensley is the one that I came to us with this. And I've seen last champion, hero, heads or tails, all these different things, all different incentives. I love the idea of $100. But I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Chris Hensley, who I can introduce you to off air, Joseph, or you can just reach out to on LinkedIn. He's a friend, bid, raise, bid. He's out of Chicago, brilliant fundraiser, and not afraid to try new things. And one of them is the paddle drop. Well, he does use HA, items for his paddle drop typically. However, yes, $100 is great. He's the kind of guy that's like that I mentioned earlier. I briefly skimmed over it. He's like, hey, if it's your 40th anniversary, not every bidding increment has to end in 00, for instance. So So, you know, it could be $140 and it'll be obvious to folks that's the 40th anniversary. And let's just say, you know, you get an extra 100 paddles, you know, dropped in the hat, so to speak. That's another $4,000, for instance, with that quick illustration. But reach out to Chris Ensley. He's a better person to ask than me. I'm just the arbiter of this information and the intermediary. But Joseph, I'm happy to have that conversation with you off air as well and intro you to Chris personally. Great person, great fundraiser, great resource.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, Trevor. It's all about the personality and who's leading that can make
Sure.
it successful
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
not. So if you've got
and
the right person.
buy in, yeah, from everybody. Absolutely. It's like this is what we're doing, and
Yeah,
this is how
yeah,
much money we're going to
exactly.
raise, and here we go. You know,
Don't
absolutely.
overcomplicate it.
Really cool bookend for event, Joseph, as I'm sure you can probably tell. So, but I like the $100 increment if that's a baseline. So, sure.
Awesome. Well, those are all of our questions. I know we're a little bit off time. If you enjoyed today's webinar, if you found this valuable, go ahead and drop a yes in the chat. We'd love to see it. Any final thoughts, Trevor or Lauren, before we sign off today?
Go ahead, Lauren.
Happy to answer more questions as they come in. If this has sparked more interest from people, feel free. I will happily answer directly, also on LinkedIn or just over email. Just let Gabby and the team know. I love having these conversations. No wonder we ran over, Trevor. This was standard practice, really, isn't it? This was
Yeah,
going to happen.
I like rapid fire. I like panels, I like questions, I like Q&A way more than slides. No offense to
Yeah,
slides,
no,
believe me.
I enjoy it too. So
Yeah.
keep them coming, everyone. We can keep this discussion going.
Yeah, I love that as well. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for the time. Thank you for the audience. Appreciate all the work that you all are doing. Gabby, thank you so much for putting this together. As mentioned, yes, we're very, very easy to reach. Yeah, LinkedIn, super, super easy, or just email me, Trevor at hafundraising.com, or just go to hafundraising.com. Let's keep the party going. It's a very, very, very good time for fundraisers. But the job's not getting easier. So so here we go, but we're game for it. So just happy to have the opportunity to riff with you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lauren and Trevor. It was awesome having you on today. For everyone, we're going to be sending a recording of the webinar as well as the PowerPoint slides following the session today. So make sure you check in your email for those. They'll be coming from me, Gabriella Salemi. And then any requests from Lauren or Trevor, we'll send them over their way so they can get in touch with you. And we hope to see you on our next Ariva webinar. Make it a great day.
Thanks, Gabby. Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate y'all.
Bye.
Take care.
Thanks.